Another rest in peace. Apparently, we are coming down to the wire here of Dynamite passing Nitro as far as the, how many weeks they've been on air and everything like that. And man, got here kind of, and it was funny when everyone started talking about it. They are obviously doing a special event for AEW that week. It's April 16th will be the week they pass them, I believe.
Yeah. Is it called Spring Breakthrough?
Spring Breakthrough, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I forgot about this. I knew it was coming because shout out to Suit. He would talk about it every so often, but it was always like, oh, that's like a year and a half from now. Like I would just like put it away or whatever, wouldn't think about it. And then you look up and we're here now, and it's like, all right, there's an element. Do I want to pour battery acid and piss, as King of the North would say, on Eric Bischoff? Sure, there is that. We have time to do that. We have time to get there and roast him over an open fire. But this almost as much of a celebration that it is for AEW. When I think about it, it's almost like a celebration for how much I love WCW. Like, and how much a lot of people love WCW. And then you think about how long Nitro was in the tank for and how long it was good, and then it like wasn't or whatever. And then like you think about that compared to Dynamite, it's really not close or whatever. It like
of course not.
Like the lowest that Dynamite has ever been, it has never even approached 1999 WCW. Like so like
of course not.
It's like
they kept stripping the belts and like making like having new title chases, like by the end it was bad, man.
Yeah. So like for them to be approaching that that 6 years and stuff like that, it's like they are in rare air. Not only just when you compare them to WCW, I believe it was Trevor Dame did a pretty in-depth tweet thread about it. Like you look at promotions in America, and by year 6, you either know who they are, they're out of business, they're bankrupt, or they're like, oh, they fucked this all up, like, and they're just gonna limp on forever, like TNA or whatever. But Ring of Honor, like they were gonna be dead until they found a buyer, essentially. Smoky Mountain Wrestling obviously never saw no year 6. WCW came out here with the Nitro era, pretty much with 6 years or whatever. There are some people that want me to play a little something special, which I will load up.
Oh man,
but it's gonna be interesting, man. Like I think that this shows that Eric Bischoff could really be walking in, being celebrated here, right? We could be looking at Eric Bischoff and being like, it wasn't you the whole time for Nitro, but you were kind of the guy for most of the thing. You put the show on the map, you ran it, all that stuff. And I think people would have no problem really showing the reverence to Eric Bischoff if he had not decided to like literally just turn into a above Cornette level grifter. So like from there, it was really hard to take serious what he was saying. To get so insulted by Tony Khan that he either wasn't offered a job, or he heard
that's what it was,
a comment maybe he didn't like Tony said or whatever, to take it out on him that way.
Look, let's cut the shit. There's no one's ever confirmed this. He thought he was gonna get a job. He ain't get no job. He's a grifter.
An old carny, a smart man,
yeah.
Like not a dumb man at all. Knows exactly what he's doing. Knows how to rile people up, and he did it for years and years here.
And if you're Eric Bischoff, why wouldn't you think you weren't? Why would you think you weren't going to get a job? He got a job from WWE in 2019.
Yep.
After not being in the business for how long?
It's like when you're wrestling, like those checks, like you just always find a way to get them, and then if you can't get them, I imagine this is one of the endings. If you don't get that check, you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna figure out how to get this here check or whatever, and then now the fans are pulling back up now. Like, hey, you done shit on this thing that we love or whatever for years and years and years. And now it's time to pull the receipts, the resume. It's time to, talk about this show completely surpassing you. It's your legacy.
I saw people on Twitter over the last 2 days, over the weekend, try to argue with Dave Meltzer about when Meltzer mentioned that, like, yeah, this year AEW is going to make more money this year than WCW ever made in a year, and they were like, "That's not possible. You must not be able to account for inflation." And I was like, "How much you think them $30 million in '98 stretched? You think it stretched to $160 something million in inflation over the last 25 years?" What are you talking about?
Do we want to talk about how much money they lost in 2000? If they're going this way with the inflation.
No. You ain't even got to go to 2000. They made all that money in 98 and then immediately took the very next year losing money again. You forget that. Like, WCW only made money like 1 year or 2 years ever.
Yeah. Look, their pay-per-view business fell off a fucking cliff. Eric Bischoff.
Well, when you're at the end and you're promoting a match of like Goldberg, whether or not he followed a fucking script, maybe your buy rates will die a death.
It's just so funny. Oh my god, that shit is so funny. So now the fans are pulling up on Eric Bischoff and asking him, "How about it?" And I'm here to do it, man.
Didn't he run out the back door like last week?
I heard something about that.
Didn't he cancel his podcast like a week ago?
I heard something about that. I didn't get the exact story. Do you want to fill me in?
Okay. So I believe remember, like, he was doing 83 weeks, and then that stopped, and then he started doing another podcast,
podcast.
Right, and then like just recently, like in the last week or so, something like it's discontinued. And it was like, you knew what was going to happen. You was gonna have to bring it up because you're gonna talk about AEW. Like, hey, bro, didn't they just surpass? Watch he pop back up with a new podcast in like 6 months or some shit like that. You're not slick.
Stick to selling mortgages. Go sell meat from a truck in Minneapolis. Put the pack up for this man. We are smoking on the Bischoff pack. This sucker and this bum. This guy is proved himself to be an all-time fraud and liar over the years, who embarrassed his own self on his own podcast, talking about booking decisions that he forgot he didn't know how to explain them. He fucked the finish over a tan, James.
Yep.
This motherfucker.
That episode was so bad that, like, that clip alone of the decision, he talked for like 40 minutes, and he let Conrad just sit there and let him. And then he went to the point and he said, "I'm kidding me." And he started yelling at him. "You fucked the finish over a tan? Are you fucking serious?" Look, bro. My favorite Bischoff criticism was him complaining about the TNT title being defended on TBS, not TNT. And I quickly pointed out to him in a quote tweet, I was like, you let Sting defend the U.S. title against Kensei Sasaki in Sumo Hall. You don't have time. You don't have room to talk. You did the same things, except worse. The Turner those are sister promotion or sister channels. You defended a championship that belongs to a country 11,000 miles away. We're done here.
Just in the amount of people that lapped this bullshit up, bro. Like, I was in disbelief. I'm like, why would you listen to business advice about Eric Bischoff, right? We know he got it hot with one idea, in 1996.
Yeah, and he kept getting it less and less hot, repeatedly doing the same idea over and over and over again.
And then, what about what he did in TNA? Just bulldoze that company. Why would we listen to this fraud ever? Eric Bischoff is less credible in pro wrestling shit. Who you want to name at this point? It's been damn near 30 years since the NWO. Like, next year is going to be the 30-year anniversary of the NWO. Why the fuck is anyone listening to Eric Bischoff at this point? This nigga has nothing but a track record of malpractice and failure. In riding Hulk Hogan's Johnson.
Yeah. And the crazy part about it is you go back and look at those rosters and like, yeah, WCW should have won.
Unbelievable.
They had Eddie, Guerrero. Yep. They had Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, Rey Mysterio Jr. Like they had the foundation of like that SmackDown 6. They had it.
There's a lot of motherfuckers to blame for the death of WCW, but right now, Eric Bischoff, we on your ass. It was your fault. Look, it was your fault.
The buck stops with him.
We were out here left for fucking 20 years with bullshit, with one option in America. It's because of you and people like you that didn't appreciate the business, that didn't respect the business, that got worked like a fucking mark and played like a fiddle by masterminds like Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan and Scott Hall. They didn't look at you and see it equal. What do you think they looked at? They looked at you. They saw a check. They saw a mark.
Yep.
They saw a trick.
Yeah, and the worst part about it is like all the talk we were talking about like on the stream before we started recording the podcast about like the guys in WWE that are going back to WWE that had their tenure in AEW and to whatever level of lukewarm success, right? Like. At the end of the day, those guys did not like suck AEW dry the way that like Hogan and Nash and Hall did, or Luger or whoever she would have named that went back and forth. Like those people, like had their run, had their matches. Some were good, some were bad. They had their weird booking stuff, like everyone has had, and then now they're on the way back, or they are back. Like AEW is still going to be around 5 years from now. WCW did not survive none of that. They got sucked dry.
You paid Disco Inferno money to wrestle professionally, Eric Bischoff.
How much was Vincent getting?
What's up?
How much was Vincent getting?
How much was Swole getting from the No Limit Soldiers?
Right.
We can just talk. We can talk all day. Look, and I can talk.
No. What was that check that Lenny Poffo was getting?
$150,000 to never work matches. I don't want to hear anything about business from Eric Bischoff. I'm sorry. Ever. Pack him the fuck up. And I hope Tony Khan leaves that flaming pile of shit that I talked about previously on the step. I hope there's some small mention of Eric Bischoff or WCW in general passing them. What do you think Tony Schiavone's going to think about this?
I mean, think of how happy Schiavone has been on air in AEW. And the things he said about these are some of the best matches he's ever seen in his life. And obviously, Schiavone is prone to hyperbole or whatever else, and with the enthusiasm, whatever else. But there is, we've heard the interviews with his podcast, whatever else, like since then. He's having more fun than he's ever had in pro wrestling now than he did back then in the quote unquote glory days. So yeah, I think that's telling enough in itself.
Remember, this motherfucker opening shows on national television. You're going head to head with WWE, and then you come out there and the whole thing begins with this. Are you fucking kidding me? You're not even, that shit ain't even plugged in, you fucking asshole. Get him out of here, man.
Rich doing all the audio gags, making it hell for me when I have to edit this on the back end. Thank you, Rich.
That one I played straight into the mic. That one should have been okay. But
I didn't hear none of it, so I gotta go on the stream and get that.
Yeah. But yeah, man. All right, man. Let's get off Eric
Well,
Bischoff.
look, let's save it because we'll have some more in 2 weeks. We'll have some more in 2 weeks.
Man, yeah, I'm fired up. I wasn't expecting to get that upset thinking about Eric Bischoff and what he did to this pro wrestling landscape in the last 30 years.
I mean, we've had these conversations before. It's just sometimes you get mad about the dumb shit that you've had to endure in your life.
Can't
sometimes.
believe this.
Like, yeah.
Because he had so many great ideas, James, like you were mentioning. Oh yeah, let's do the cruiserweights and all that stuff. Let's have a overarching company invasion. Let's have a great mid card with just wrestlers everywhere. Let's do all these cool things. And then you
let's be more realistic compared to WWFs at the time, like cartoonish, like Next Generation,
right?
A New Generation, yeah,
right. And flat out, an awesome television performer, a fucking hilarious guy.
Yes, yeah,
like. Yeah. I know people were like, you watch this clip, and I've buried this man under the earth. He deserves it. However,
he's an all-time talent.
Yeah.
He's an all-time on-screen talent.
Yeah, like, if you've never watched Karate Man Bischoff, oh my God.
Oh my God. No Flex Zone Bischoff? Man, please.
So.
Like, you gotta remember,